What if I told you that the most powerful empire in the ancient world collapsed in a single night because of a dinner party gone wrong? Picture this. You're showing off the biggest party of your life, using gold treasures as party utensils, when suddenly, ghostly fingers start writing your death sentence on the wall. Sounds like a horror movie, right? But this actually happened to one of history's most arrogant rulers. There are those who believe in every whisper, and there are those who don't seem to bother much. The question is, what can we gain from this? The Tale of Two Kings. Let me tell you about two kings who couldn't be more different. One who learned humility the hard way, and another who partied his way to destruction. First, meet Nebuchadnezzar II, the king who thought he was untouchable. This guy built the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, conquered Jerusalem, and ruled the most magnificent empire on earth for 43 years. For sure, your whole body will tremble, your brain will explode, and you will definitely be blown away if you learn that God had to turn him into a wild animal to teach him a lesson about pride. According to Daniel chapter 4, verses 28 through 33, Nebuchadnezzar was literally driven away from people and ate grass like the ox. His body was drenched with the dew of heaven, until his hair grew like the feathers of an eagle and his nails like the claws of a bird. King Nebuchadnezzar II experienced a period when he was removed from exercising his royal authority, but he was not deposed in a political or official sense. Instead, he was temporarily incapacitated due to a divinely imposed madness. Imagine the most powerful man alive crawling around eating grass like a cow. But here's what makes this story incredible. When Nebuchadnezzar finally humbled himself and acknowledged God's authority, he was completely restored. Daniel 4:34-37 tells us he came back even stronger than before. The party that ended everything. Now fast forward to around October 11th, 539 BC. Nebuchadnezzar's successor, Belshazzar, is throwing the party of the century. We're talking about 1,000 VIP guests, rivers of wine, and the most expensive dinnerware you've ever seen. But here's where it gets sacrilegious. Belshazzar decides to use the sacred gold and silver vessels stolen from God's temple in Jerusalem as party cups. According to Daniel 5:1-4, King Belshazzar gave a great banquet for 1,000 of his nobles and drank wine with them. While Belshazzar was drinking his wine, he gave orders to bring in the gold and silver goblets that Nebuchadnezzar, his predecessor, had taken from the temple in Jerusalem. As they drank the wine, they praised the gods of gold and silver, of bronze, iron, wood, and stone. Think about this. While enemy armies are literally at the gates, this guy is partying with holy artifacts and mocking the God of Israel. It's like using sacred vessels for a drinking game while your house is on fire. What if I told you there's a story so bizarre that most people don't even believe it happened? Stay with me. You'll never look at history the same way again. I share untold truths behind history's most mind-blowing events. These are stories you won't find in textbooks or hear from anyone else. Don't miss out on stories that will inspire, shock, and leave you knowing more of the things you thought you knew. When heaven crashes the party. Then it happens. Right in the middle of the celebration, a ghostly hand appears and starts writing mysterious words on the palace wall. MENE, MENE, TEKEL, UPHARSIN. The party instantly turns into a horror show. Daniel 5:6 tells us King Belshazzar was very afraid. His face became white from fear, and his knees were shaking and knocking together. He could not stand up because his legs were too weak. Picture the most confident person you know suddenly turning into a trembling mess. That's Belshazzar realizing he might have pushed things too far. The prophet who spoke truth to power. Enter Daniel, the same guy who had interpreted dreams for Nebuchadnezzar decades earlier. This elderly prophet looks Belshazzar straight in the eye and delivers one of the most brutal truth bombs in history. Daniel doesn't hold back. He reminds Belshazzar that he knew exactly what happened to his predecessor, but chose to ignore the lesson. Daniel 5:22 records his words, "You have not humbled yourself, though you knew all this." In other words, you watched Nebuchadnezzar get humbled by God and you learned absolutely nothing from it. So, what did those mysterious words mean? Other channels are just clickbait and waste your time on their fancy videos. But if you've ever been disappointed by half-baked explanations or dry history lessons, this channel is for you. I dig deep to uncover every detail and bring these stories to life. These are the stories you'll be dying to share at your next gathering. Your friends will be impressed. Subscribe now, and I promise you'll walk away amazed every time. Do nothing and keep wasting your time on stories that don't really matter, then you will know how much time value you've lost. Doing nothing is expensive too. Daniel breaks it down. Many means numbered. God has counted the days of your kingdom and time's up. TEKEL means weighed. You've been measured on God's scales and found lacking. UPHARSIN means divided. Your kingdom is being split up and given to your enemies. It was essentially a divine eviction notice written in supernatural ink. That very night, here's the jaw-dropping part. This wasn't some distant prophecy. Daniel 5:30 and 31 tell us, that very night Belshazzar the Chaldean king was killed, and Darius the Mede received the kingdom, being about 62 years old. While Belshazzar was partying, Persian armies had been quietly diverting the Euphrates River and marching through the dried riverbed into the impregnable city of Babylon. Belshazzar's pride and extreme arrogance make him belittle and disregard the impending attack. The greatest empire on earth fell in one night because its leader was too proud and drunk to pay attention to the warning signs. The lesson that changes everything. So what's the difference between these two kings? Both were incredibly powerful. Both made massive mistakes, but their responses couldn't have been more different. Nebuchadnezzar learned humility and was restored. The Bible says in Daniel 4:37, "Those who walk in pride he is able to humble." But Belshazzar, he doubled down on his arrogance and lost everything. Here's what makes this story terrifyingly relevant today. Pride doesn't just affect individuals. It can destroy entire legacies, companies, and nations overnight. You're here because you crave the kind of stories most people miss. Ones that make you think, laugh, and examine further the world around you. That's exactly what I deliver. Unlike other channels, I back every story with meticulous research and bring it to you in a way that's as entertaining as it is eye-opening. Join this community. Don't miss your chance to be part of it. Click that subscribe button now and become the one who knows the stories no one else does. The modern mirror. Think about it. How many successful people have you seen crash and burn because they thought they were untouchable? How many companies have collapsed because their leaders ignored warning signs? How many relationships have been destroyed by someone who was too proud to admit they were wrong? Proverbs 16:18 puts it perfectly. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. The choice we all face. Every day, we face the same choice these two kings faced. Will we learn from the mistakes of others, or will we insist on learning the hard way? Belshazzar had a front row seat to watch pride destroy his predecessor, yet he chose to repeat the same mistakes. Don't be a Belshazzar. Don't wait for the writing on the wall to appear in your own life. James 4:6 reminds us that God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. I share unbelievable stories that you don't want to miss. Once it's live, only subscribers will be the first to know. My stories may not be for everyone, but if you have a passion to be different, you belong here. Each like and subscription fuels more incredible stories, ensuring you stay in the loop. The bottom line: the next time success goes to your head, remember the tale of two kings. One learned that true strength comes from humility, and he was restored to even greater heights. The other thought he was above divine accountability, and he lost everything in a single night. The question isn't whether pride will be humbled. The question is whether you'll humble yourself or wait for life to do it for you. After all, if the most powerful empire in the ancient world can fall in one night because of pride, what makes us think we're any different? The writing might already be on the wall. The question is, are you humble enough to read it?